Hi everybody, it's Robbie from Southern California, and today I have something I have not seen before. I know that they make them, but pack them up like this, but I haven't seen them before at the 99-cent store. So let me tell you the story, what's going on. I ran to the 99-cent store twice. Well, I went in and I went out because there's a big scare of the coronavirus, and they announced this morning to stockpile certain staples. So when I went in the first time and I bought a bunch of toilet paper and I bought some other stuff too, I didn't see these. They weren't there. And then I decided before I left, I think I'll go get some more. So when I ran in, he had just put these out. So it was good I went back in. And they had Perel. My brother told me this morning in Los Angeles, there's no Perel. They have a lot of generic products, but no Perel. So when I went up to the shelf, and there was Perel, I said, a lady and I were talking about the toilet paper. And I said, oh, my brother told me I should pick up some Perel. I reached on the shelf to pick up, I picked up one. And the lady and I were talking. I don't know where this other lady came from. She came and it was like a swoop, like a hawk. She grabbed them, put her arms around them, grabbed them all off the shelf. There were two left. I grabbed one more. So I ended up with two. And the other lady I was talking to, she got one. So there's a mad dash for a lot of stuff. So everybody's buying Perel, toilet paper. There's no face masks in town anywhere. And they're buying water. I saw the shelves today empty with the cheaper brand of water. But nobody's buying sage. I am, because if we're stuck in the house for any length of time, Gary wants his pizza. Now, why would I buy rosemary when I am growing 3 huge bushes in my garden? They're just gigantic, and then I've got 2 more on the property because these look different. So I thought, you know what, this is something I've never bought before. I did buy the crust that time from the 99-cent store, and it was rooted like this with the roots, and they're doing great. I have 2 on the deck growing. They're still growing strong, and Gary's got 1 growing in his garden. So I thought this will be fun. My sage has died back a little bit. The one on the deck, my tricolored, that one has, actually that one's coming back quite well. And then the one in the other, actually the sage is doing well. It's my basil dying back. They did not have basil. So I figured, I have nothing to lose. I don't have this type of sage. I have another one that's got more of a white leaf. You know what, let's open up the sage. So let's see what's going on, because I don't know myself what this looks like, how many there are, or what it is. So it comes in this little packet. Now, I think the 99-cent store got him because it says to sell by, and the buy date is today. So the company must have really wanted to get rid of them, because I bet you these are not $1 at the store. Look at that. Okay, so it comes in this cute little plastic thing, which we're not going to throw away. We'll figure out something to do with it. And wow, this is not one sage plant. This is multiple sage plants. Uh-oh. Now, do I want to try to break it apart, or I don't? I'm going to plant, I could break it apart, put it underwater, but I don't need 25 sage plants. I'm going to say there's about 25 in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wow. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. There is 25. 25. There are 25. So 25 seeds came up. Being that I bought 3 of them, not knowing there was 25, I think I will put them in one of these pots. And then what I'll do, there's a little one down here. Take that one off and do something with that. Here's the plastic bag with the paper cup. I'm going to put the little one that fell off in here, so it gets its own start. This has got nothing in it. And then I can just lift it off, and we'll see. Maybe this one will work. I don't need this much sage. Okay, we did not need 3. Maybe I'll just stick them in Gary's garden. Look at that. So now when it's time to plant this one, if it makes it, all I have to do, you've seen the cup one I've made with the plastic bags. You just take the whole thing out, and it will pop right out of the plastic bag. This has been the greatest thing. I'm growing things from cuttings and everything in this method. And then, of course, the cups without the holes, they catch the water, so you can sit these anywhere, and you use coffee cups and everything. So I'm going to leave this little one in here, since it already fell off. And we'll just try not to kill it and leave it. And we'll put that off to the side. And with this one right now, I think I'm just going to plant it in a pot. I should have had a taller stool. I was going to wear gloves. I guess I'm not. All right. So I'm going to plant these in a pot and leave them the way they are. If it really takes off, I may sacrifice some of them by actually using them. And I'm going to take some more soil out. And then letting the strongest survive. Oh, it's windy. But I wanted to share with you, if you've got a 99-cent store, usually if one gets them, multiple stores get them. Check them out when you're walking through. It wasn't anything I expected to see. And if you need them, you know, it's good, because here's the problem. To be honest, if I leave this many like this, they're not going to grow real well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use it over the next few days. Oh, wow. That smells good. Culinary sage. This is a really good sage. Doesn't say what kind, just says grown in California. One count with 25 plants growing in there. So I'm going to leave this one in here, and I may separate some of the others, just kind of gently underwater, get the roots apart, and put them in different pots. I don't need that much sage, but I definitely want a few sage on the deck, so when I'm cooking, I can just step out there and just grab sage and get some more in the garden. But I wanted to share that with you. So we've got sage, and also they got in rosemary. Now let's take a look at the rosemary. They got in, from what I saw, there was an arugula, and Gary said, I called him, he said, don't buy the arugula, he grows that in his garden. It comes up wild from seed. They had mint. Obviously, I don't eat mint. We grow tons of mint. They had one chive. I didn't eat that because I have all my walking onion and onion chives on the deck. And they had two rosemary. I took them both because to me they look different than the ones, and of course they had the sage. That was it. Okay, these are two rooted plants. Oh, it smells so good. Now that's what I thought. Now it could be the plastic, but these leaves are much softer than the leaves from the ones I have. And there's multiple types of rosemary. I don't know what kind of rosemary it is. I bought that at the 99-cent store too. They had one, a good sized pot, like a pot that was like 2 times the size of that. And there was a couple different plants in it, and there was a rosemary. So I ended up buying, I guess I bought 5 pots, and all of them lived, and that's what we ended up with the rosemary. You can root rosemary, remember. There's different methods of rooting it, but I thought for fun, I would see if I can get some rosemary. I like to separate them. Since you can root them easily, I'm going to separate this one. I'm not going to worry about the few roots it's going to lose, because again, they root so easy. I'll probably bury it a little bit. So there's one, and here's the other. So this one had 2 plants. Take a look real quick on this one, and then I'll figure out how I'm going to plant them, because I need to get these planted. Now what I would do if you do decide to do this, okay, this one's got 2 as well. There's 2 plants in here. Is I would trim it, even this. It's going to go into transplant shock, and it's got so many leaves, and that's when it, it stresses out. So I'm going to use a lot of leaves for cooking, probably tonight, or I could even take the leaves off and I could dry them or freeze them or put them in the fridge. But I would trim it down, but that's kind of too many plants for that pot. With this, I'm going to go straight into a paper cup. And I'm going to make a hole in the paper cup, and then I'm going to go sit it somewhere and water it. Now when I do the paper cup this way, and I've showed you before, I'm going to make multiple holes, because when I go to plant it, I'm going to pop the bottom off, and it'll be wet. The paper cup will be wet and soft. It'll be easy to do. And I'm not going to take the rosemary out of the paper cup. I'm going to plant it about 1 inch down, and I'm going to let it just take hold until I decide where I want to plant it. And then I'm going to just leave it in the paper cup. Now you go, why would you leave it in the paper cup? You can plant it in the ground anywhere you want. The reason I'm going to leave it in the paper cup is because I have had tremendous luck with so many plants that way, that when you leave it in the paper cup and you go to water it, you're watering, of course, the rim inside the paper cup. Anyway, let's pack this thing down a little bit. You don't want to go to the top when you do it this way. You want to go, just leave about half inch to an inch. Now when I plant this in the ground, I could do this right now today if I wanted to. When I plant this in the ground and I water it, the water is going to go directly to the roots. It can't accidentally take off. And that's what happens to a lot of plants. You go to water them, especially if you're watering in the garden, and the water looks like it's going down, but what it's doing is it may be going down into the soil. This is when you're growing straight into the ground. It goes into the soil, and then there could have been a gopher, a mole, insects who have been tunneling around, even ants. And when you water it, instead of it going to the plant, you're watering it, and then the water takes off that way, or whatever way the roots are not. And that's why sometimes you can lose your plants. You think you're watering it, but it's not really getting watered. So that's why I like planting it in the paper cup system, because when you do that, they are definitely getting water. Even if it left, the point is, it still has to get some water. There's no way not to get water, because the water went straight into the paper cup. It's got to go to the roots, and then if it wants to leave, if there was something crawling around, it can only go so far. The plant itself will still get water to the roots. So now I have 2 more rosemary planted here, and I've got to figure out where I want to put it. Look at that. And I don't know how long they've been in these cases, but that's it. So now I've got 2 more rosemary. I've got 2 more here. See, it's such a soft leaf. My rosemary, the one that we're growing here, is very spiky. Oh, it tastes good. The way I do it, it doesn't matter what it is, because I've got a method of using rosemary. But this is so soft. And I figured it might taste it. Sure smells good. So that's why I wanted to try it. I might put a little bit more soil here, give a little bit more stability to it. Look at that. And I'll probably even cut the top off and use that right away, or wash it and wrap it up in a wet paper towel and put it in the fridge. So if I'm not using it all right away, but I'm going to top the plant a little bit, and this way it'll get a good root system, because once these things take off, they just take off. So just trim it back. It doesn't need all this growth right now. Let it develop its root system, and then you're going to have rosemary. With the sage, I'm going to have to really think about on the next ones how I'm going to do that, because there are just too many in a package. I don't know if this one's got as many. We could take a quick peek. Gary's going to get sage in his garden, because that's probably where I'm going to put some. Oh, this is way too many. Oh, yeah. What they did was they grew it kind of like they do microgreens, and they, in their system, whatever way they do it, I always soak this in water and get the roots apart. In the system they grew it, they just put in a bunch of seeds. They probably weigh them out. I'm trying to see if there's any seeds left. I don't see it. And then they grew, and they're growing, they're growing in soil. So they're growing in a really good special greenhouse, and then they sell them. They just pop them out of their containers, probably plastic. They just pop them right out, and then they pack them up in these containers that they've got specially designed for it. That's really cool. I doubt they grow them in here. Now, it is possible that they have a method of growing them in here, but I doubt that they grow them in here. My guess would be that their containers that they're growing them in fit this perfect, so they can just pop them out and just put them in here. It doesn't say anything more than grown in California. There's no label. There's no company label, no company name. There is a barcode, but I don't know. Oh, that's interesting. The barcode on the sage and the rosemary are the same. Nope, there's one number different on the rosemary. But again, there's no company label or anything. It just says grown in the United States. The plastic has got a 1 in the triangle, which is a lot like your water bottles. That's it. So if you're interested in something like that, now that you've learned from me, you don't need to buy 3 sage, because you've got multiple sage in here. And you'll be able to buy 1 and separate it. And hopefully they'll make it. Sometimes they won't, because they've been grown a certain way. Here's the deal. If I bought what here? 5? If I even get, is there 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I even get 1 plant out of all this to grow, I haven't lost my money, because when I go to the nursery, a lot of times they sell 1 plant is like $4 or $5. So this is going to be interesting. So we'll go ahead and put this little guy back into its container until I figure out how I'm going to do this. Am I going to line up 100 paper cups of sage? I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know. But look at the pepper is doing so good. And, oh boy, you're growing all new growth. My dinosaur kale, and that's also in the plastic bag method. See the water there? This is the second bag. See, you've seen how I've done it on my video. The second bag, this has the water, and the water goes out and it goes into the second bag. That's if you don't want to get your container, you know, stained with water. And then I can just pour that out. And I've talked about how to do that. You can either pour it out or whatever you want to do. See, if you water too much and you think it's too waterlogged, just pour it out and just pour it in the sink or pour it wherever you want. But there's my container. All right, so this was my 99-cent store find among all the toilet paper that we purchased today. Now, what they said on the news this morning is they had a news conference and they wanted people to stock up on certain essentials because if the coronavirus does hit our area hard, right now as of this morning, there's 7 cases. And yes, one person has passed away. My daughter is devastated. And she's just so scared. And a lot of people are. My mother's scared. Gary isn't as scared. He looks at things, why worry twice? And that's true. That's true. But you know what? I'm not overly worried, but I want to be prepared. I have a lot of thoughts of how to be prepared. We are actually prepared that if something happened and we could not leave the house, let's say, for extended period, we'd be fine. So I know that we would be perfectly fine. And that's something to think about. I think everybody should think about that. Look, we have a lot of sage and rosemary to eat. But no, maybe I'll talk about that one day when I'm having coffee in the garden. But just kind of went there to get our bare essentials. Everybody wants toilet paper and water. I did not buy. We do have some bottled water here, but that was out too. Like I said, the Perel, the actual Perel, the brand, they're out of that. They did get in some other types, generic, and people were buying that. They were loading up on that. And a lot of strange things they were loading up on. I was surprised. I went to another store because they had shrimp on sale. I thought I'll buy a little shrimp and do something with that. And they were out. And the butcher told me it's because of the scare. And the store was packed this morning. And I said, why would they be buying shrimp because of the scare? He said, because it's frozen. People are looking for frozen things. Things on sale, things at a good price, and things they can have, you know, as a treat or something in case of an emergency. So it's a good idea. It's definitely a good idea. But I might take some of the sage apart and get them in paper cups or plastic cups like this with plastic bags, and then I can just put them anywhere I want. But yeah, I overbought. I didn't need to buy quite that much sage. I was so excited. Now I got to think about things more often. Look, I could have bought more toilet paper. But no, this will be good. I want to get some going. Like I said, I did buy the watercress last time. Not watercress. Oh, it was another cress. It was a different type of cress plant, and it's doing great. I bought it like this. And, you know, sometimes it's a hit and miss. Sometimes you buy them and they won't grow. I could baby them, and I have so many, I could keep some in the house temporarily. The weather's getting nicer. And I can put some outside and see which ones do better. And I can separate these and put them in a big pot. So I'm going to get a lot of these all planted, hopefully, as quick as possible. And now I've got new rosemary. That means... wow. You know, I used to not like rosemary. Now that I'm cooking with it differently, love rosemary. I'm going to make Gary a pizza tomorrow. He's getting something else tonight. So, keep an eye out. If you're into something like this, see what they've got. When I went to the 99-cent store, they had not had the seeds in yet. Not any of the ones in my area. So check yours, because their seeds are about 20 cents a package, something like that. And they're just starting to get in more and more spring things for gardening. They still have a lot of Easter stuff, and once the Easter stuff is out, I think they're going to load up on the spring things. So with that, look at my 1 paper cup. This is Brad's Atomic Tomato. Look at that. 1 seed, 1 tomato. Love these paper cup methods and all these different things. Anyways, that's it. So We'll see what happens. I got too much sage, but oh well, what am I going to do? Just wanted to share this with you because was so excited to find these for $1, and don't overbuy. You don't need that many. I didn't need to spend $5 on this, but I'll find a place for it. Have a great day, and don't forget to eat what you grow. They're nesting, by the way. We've got nests around the house, so hopefully that's a good sign that spring is here. Bye-bye. Oh, there's my other rosemary. I should have showed that. End cap. We're going to put this on at the end. Here is the rosemary that I grow, and I'm rooting this. I can see this one didn't make it, and it's easier if you do it by wrapping the plant, making a cut on it, and then wrapping it with plastic and packing it with soil and rooting it that way, or take some very old wood off the plant. But these are making it. These are stiffer. See, they're smaller and stiffer, and this is long and very soft, so it is a different rosemary. That's my end cap. Have a great day, and don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye! So they are different, see? Oh, this is it's kind of a sweeter smell.